What's the biggest turnoff when you're talking with someone new? When they pretend to listen, but don't make the least effort to make it convincing. When they talk at you and don't leave you with an opportunity to speak in between topics. Trying to impress me with money or discussions of things they buy with their money when they are clearly attempting to show off that they have a lot. Same thing with connections, like great, you know, an important person. These always seem like thinly veiled attempts to cover up feelings of ineptitude, lack of true friends, or just inferiority complex in general. When someone pretends to be cool and they make you feel inferior. Random out of left field insults put-downs. I have a friend that will constantly interrupt me whenever I'm talking or talk over me. It's always about her and never about anyone else. Inability to disconnect from social media for even a short period of time. A girl I took out on a first date spent a decent amount of time talking about how much money she would get when her parents died. They were both happy and healthy in their 50s. She also told me the music I had on, it was the radio, sucked, and that her dad told her what real music was and I needed to listen to that. Then she said her parents told her she was conceived to a Jimi Hendrix song, so she knew what good music was, because it was in her DNA. She was so busy talking about herself that she didn't notice I did a 3-point turn and headed right back to her house. When they keep interrupting you. Someone who just feeds off drama, like doesn't talk about anything else, but things that are going on with other people. I'm trying to get to know you, not some random sorority girl and what she did last weekend. Rudeness to others. You're doing most of the talking and they act as if they couldn't care less. They don't give and take in the conversation. They don't reciprocate the questions I'm asking them. No sense of humor would be tough to get past. If we are talking in real life and they keep checking their phone, no thanks. When they keep interrupting you while you're trying to speak, especially when you get asked a question and before you can answer they either ask another one or interject something completely irrelevant. A complete lack of ability to have a conversation, like one-word answers or thinking lol as a response. Another bad one is the one-uppers or people that are clearing bragging so hard they are lying. If they immediately start talking about their ideal partner in great detail, being really specific about who this person should be and the things they should like and be into, especially when this includes how this person should be in the bedroom, what they should do and like doing, I guess they are trying to rule out their non-starters quickly, but just makes me think, oh, do frick off. Bringing up an ex more than a few times. When they start the conversation with a gossip, an example is my experience with this woman in my daughter's preschool, before the pandemic, who would start a conversation about that person, anyone she knows that I knew nothing about, and she claims she has connections with certain well-known people, really off-putting, and it was just the first week of classes. When they're an expert on everything. Super specific, but I hate it when people give me a weird look or comments when I tell them about my special interests. It's hard for me to open up about my interests because of that exact reason. Bad breath? Maybe not the biggest, but the one that occurs most often. Talking about fighting, or how you put someone in their place. Or some guy cut in line at the taco shop so you knock him out. I now think you're psycho or a liar. Either way, I don't think you're the badass you think you are. Someone who can't realize that they are the cause of their problems. Everything is usually someone else's fault. Getting sexual too fast. If we haven't even met, I don't want to talk dirty with you or have the entire conversation dominated by what sexual preferences you have. Sending unsolicited nudes also comes into this. Let's start with a regular conversation. Being rude to wait staff or aggressive with people in general over a seemingly small thing. I run. Being entitled or ungrateful. I bought a girl some coffee and paid in cash. She insulted me for using cash. Because it's what old people do? Having only crazy exes and explosive breakups. Big red flag. Shreks talk way too soon often. If we've barely gotten to know each other, I don't need to be told that you think I'd be a passionate lover or what opinion you like. This happens way too often. That lack of restraint social skills really puts me off. If they proudly announce they drink and drive, it's stupid. When you ask all the questions, they don't ask anything back and feels like an interview. 2 minutes into talking and guy starts being too direct and egoistic, thinking he already won me plus world. No thank you. Rude to low-income workers, no manners. One-upping everything you say. He seems clean, dressed well, good-looking, great conversation, but man, first and second dates, the beau was hard to get around. Fingers crossed date 3 he learns about deodorant. Saying you'd love to get coffee multiple times, but never actually following up, like just tell me you're not interested, don't lie to my face. Superficiality. Hated when guys I'd never met would tell me to come over and snuggle. Who else is going through this for what not to do? When they're too clocky, or overcompensate for whatever reason, I'm a hate ya right off the bat. Any talk to Shrexual acts or then bringing their Shrek's life into it is such a turn off. They either talk to you like you're just there for Shreks or they try to boost their confidence with saying how they did this, did that, etc. Horrible flirting skills. Saying this, most of my encounters with men all had this one common phrase that idiots in London use. The typical roadmen that pollute the area all ask, what are you on? If you don't know what that means, it's just asking what are you on. Shrexually wise. If you're willing to frick or blow them off, etc. When they change their opinion to match yours, once you disagree with something they're saying, they backtrack gracefully and try to make it seem like they're on your side. With online dating, people who ask for pics constantly, there was a whole profile for you to look at and we're texting, just ask me out. Also uninvited Shrexual advances before we've even met, get out of here. Instantly pulling out their phone to add me on social media. Like, talk to me a bit first, please. They don't ask questions or try to involve you in a conversation and only talk about themselves. And the expression of hate for a group of people. It's fascinating how quickly people seem to talk about the things or people they hate when meeting someone new. When everything leads back to Shrek's chat, are you 14 for frick's sake? Hold a convo without alluding to or hinting at it. Bores the shoot out of me, lol. Lack of empathy and being unkind to animals. Murder. Like if I am talking to someone and they are in the middle of committing a murder, no thanks. I know they are probably bad news. Vapid attraction to material things. When they keep looking over your shoulder at someone else they'd rather be talking to. They don't ask anything about you, just talk about themselves. Liars. Clockiness. I can't stand it when you talk to someone and they act like their shoe don't stink. He was trying to show me a picture of something he made on his coffee table. His coffee table was a freaking garbage-filled mess of beer cans and cigarette butts. Like dozens of beer cans. It was revolting. I stopped talking to him. Poor communication. Thanks for the upvotes, love you all. A dude I was dating for a week called me wifey and tried calling me baby. No, not for me. When they start vomiting violently onto the crotch of your brand new jeans. Immediate use of sweetheart or other terms of endearment. Casually assuming that I'm also racist. I worked at a plumbing company with a bunch of guys who I'd see in the morning, but otherwise rarely worked with. Occasionally you would finish a job and the next one wouldn't be ready to start yet, so your crew would go and help another crew out for a day or two. One instance I get sent to help a crew I hadn't worked with before. We just jib-jab through the day, casual small talk about the job and stuff, and eventually this helper on the other crew mentioned some relative of his fought in World War II. For the Nazis. This eventually led to the guy telling me about a shrine to Adolf Hitler he had built in his closet at home and looking to me for approval, as if I was supposed to think it was awesome. Constant complaining. When they talk about how their dad used to beat them with jumper cables. Smokers. I'm an asthmatic, so even if they aren't currently smoking, all I can smell on their clothes is future asthma attacks. When they don't want to hear about my new world order and join the cult I run out of Granny's shed. Horoscopes. When they base compatibility on horoscopes. Then when you disagree they say I knew it's such a Capricorn. Ridiculous. Foul breath, like when they open their mouth you immediately feel like get punched in the face by that smell. Immediate gross sexual innuendos, or worse, overt comments on my body. When they don't care to know about you. For example, if I ask how their day went and they answer me, but never ask how mine went. Being rude to people working in restaurant stores. Had a recent one, strangely specific, but dude thought it would be an endearing story to tell me how he stole his coworker's sandwich from the office fridge, and he wasn't sure, but he thought it would be okay, because it was his nemesis. Pal, you're a grown-ass man. Nothing is attractive about the pettiness and dishonesty you're describing here. This is just my personal opinion, but the main turnoff for me would be when they're going on about how much drugs they have done or talked about their past relationships. Maybe I'm too closed-minded, but it just doesn't sit well with me. One-word responses. No effort to have an actual conversation. Casual racism. I'm kind of racially ambiguous and I've dated guys from many racial ethnic backgrounds, and I hate when they start telling me why they don't like women of their own race. Just because I'm not that race doesn't mean I'm okay with you bashing them. It happens a lot and I find it bizarre. One texting, on-liner answers and no actual effort from their part. And I don't normally send unsolicited DMs. I have these conversations specifically in places that are made to meet new people. X? Hey, so I saw on your profile you like X. I'm a huge fan. Yeah? So who's your favorite character? Why? Oh, she's great. Yeah, mine's Z, because blah blah blah. Ha. Okay. Is there something else you want to talk about? I don't know. And I usually just stop messaging then lol.